So, we are roughly 2 days and 6 hours away from the launch of the Farsite NFT store at the time of making this video. If you've never heard of Farsite, allow me to give you a brief introduction. Farsite is described as a blockchain-powered sandbox MMO RTS game with elements of adventure in a sci-fi setting based on a post-apocalyptic story. Now, first things first, this video is not financial advice. Always do your own research and invest only money that you can lose. This is a video game after all, so don't necessarily see it as an investment opportunity. So Farsite is similar to other successful blockchain games such as Alien Worlds and Upland, and the developers of Farsite are trying to create a player-owned persistent virtual universe that's running within the confines of a player-controlled economy that's fueled by NFTs, credits, and blockchain. There's a lot of information on their website, so I would definitely suggest to read the documentation and basically determine for yourself if this is something you're interested in. So let's talk about NFTs and the collateralized ownership of in-game items. So in Farsite, players can create items in-game using materials found while exploring the universe or obtained by other means. The production of items requires access to blueprints, item components, a base, and some credits. Components can be made from resources, which can be found on asteroids and planets, or purchased in-game. So here are some of the types of items that you can find. You can find blueprints, which are NFTs under the ERC 721 proposal, and they are basically licensed to produce an item in the Farsite universe. So in order to produce an item, you need a blueprint. You can have ship hulls, which are sea NFTs. These sea NFTs are a special kind of NFTs that I will talk about later. For now, just think about them as NFTs that also hold money as a collateral for the item that they represent. Apart from ship hulls, modules are also CNFTs, and as far as we know so far, these two are the only CNFT types of items in the game. Then there's components. These are used to make ship hulls and modules. There's resources. This is what components and ammunition is made from. Of course, there's ammunition. This is basically a consumable that is used up during fights. There are crates, which are containers for items, and these are sold by the game makers or developers, or are given away via airdrops. And this is likely going to be the only source of new credits coming into the system. So you kind of want to keep an eye out on those. And then there's stickers, basically just to customize the appearance of your ship. Okay, let's talk about credits and FAR tokens. The official currency used inside the Farsite video game are credits. These are used as a payment method for all sorts of actions in-game, and they are running on a layer 2 solution to cut down on the fees. As far as I understand it, the developers will actually cover these fees in-game, and the only fees that you will have to pay are the ones when transferring from the main Ethereum network back to the layer 2 and vice versa. Credits can be transferred to the Ethereum network from the layer 2 solution, and there they will be swapped for FAR tokens. There is an interesting relationship here because they are intertwined and actually represent the same value or entity, because one FAR token is the same as 1000 credits, and this is hard-coded into the smart contract. And so the important part here is that when credits are transferred to the Ethereum network, they are burned on the layer 2, and there is a corresponding amount of new FAR tokens issued or minted on the main Ethereum network. After the initial distribution, new credits can only be created by opening a new crate. We can talk about the tech for a bit as well. So there are 3 layers in the game. The first layer is the Ethereum network, which ensures ownership of items and secures the game rules, as well as the token supply. The second layer is actually running on Polygon and Matic, and it is responsible for hosting virtual wallets and supports the item immutability. Polygon has been chosen because of its instant transaction times, which also play well within the confines of the player-driven universe. And what's good here is that the fees on Polygon are currently so low that the developers are probably going to cover all of the fees that are going to take place on the second layer. And the third layer is some sort of a database containing hashed summaries of all operations on layer 2, and it will allow for fast operation of non-critical actions that do not use credits in game. So, and finally, let's talk a bit about those CNFTs. So, CNFTs are a proposed standard for ERC20 collateral staking on non-fungible tokens for borrowing against game assets. The basic way to think about them is that an item is insured by having an intrinsic value represented by tokens. In other words, CNFTs are basically NFTs that hold a certain amount of ERC20 as a collateral. To get to those tokens within the NFT, you have to burn the CNFT, and as long as it is not being used for staking, you will get those tokens. These CNFTs can also be used as a collateral for a loan. So if you, for example, need to borrow money from another player, they can lend some credits to you, and you can use the CNFT that represents a ship as a collateral. And then if you default on the payment or are unable to pay in time, they will actually be able to either sell the ship, I assume, or break it down and get the credits inside. In some cases, when a ship is destroyed inside the game, the collateral may go back to you, the owner, to offset the losses of losing the ship. However, if the ship is being used as collateral for lending somewhere else, well, then those credits might go to the lender instead of you, because unfortunately, that's how it has to be. Alright, so as I said, this is an unfinished project, but it's very interesting. There's a link in the description. Soon there's going to be the store opening where crates will be purchasable for the first time. And later in this quarter, they still want to deploy the FAR tokens and credits smart contracts. And then in Q3, there's going to be an interactive star map. They're going to try to get listings of the FAR tokens probably on exchanges and CoinMarketCap and apps like that. And then there's also going to be an internal marketplace, which I assume will going to allow players to trade between each other. That's my interpretation of it. I could be wrong. And then in Q4 there's going to be an early alpha and the ability to acquire sectors within the game, which is something we haven't talked about yet, but that's another aspect of the game that's going to play a significant part in the gameplay probably. And then later on there's going to be the launch of the game itself. So this project is still quite a few ways away, but it looks interesting. So if you like it, check it out in the description. Make sure to read the docs on the website. There is quite a lot of information there, and see you next time.